So today I am here because this person asked question how to practice 3 tenets of Zen Peacemaker order, which is accepting unknown, bearing witness, and loving action. Those are the 3 tenets of Zen Peacemaker order, which is taught actively to use in Upaya Zen Center. My teacher, Roshi Jong Halifax, was the, still is, the student of Zen teacher Bernie Glassman. And I think a couple months ago, you guys watched the video of Bernie doing the instruction to the cook, and there's the books. Anyhow, so he came up with 3 tenets, and we've been taught to practice as we develop our way of being present. And I'm here today to share how I practice these 3 tenets. So bearing witness, accepting unknown, and practicing those 2, you will come to loving action. So compassionate action is another phrase, another way you can kind of think of. And the person asked question wanted to stay as anonymous. So he or she will be anonymous. That's how I memorize, so I still have to say it, anonymous, right? Matt said anonymous, and so now I can remember as that way, and then comes out that way, so anonymous. That's what I mean. Okay, so the reason why we're sitting this format is we're gonna actually experience what it means to bear witness and accepting unknown as a group, as a this circle today, this morning, and that's why we're forming circle instead of regular format. And how we're gonna do that is you notice that there is an altar in the middle, and we're gonna use the council format. Council format that I was taught from Roshi John is drawn from Quaker tradition plus Native American tradition, and they use talking stick. So in the center of the circle, usually there's a children's fire, which we won't be speaking harsh word in front of children. Knock on wood, hopefully. I mean, we all have a moment, but the idea is we do this for our future generation, for our children. So that's the children's fire represents. And I put some stuff here, remembering ourselves to soaring in the sky, not above, not below, not in, I don't remember what the Tsoni Rinpoche said. So the blue feather and the circle, the continuous practice, it never ends. Continue to deepen, let go, deepening, that's just all that it is, the continuous practice. And through doing that, we heal ourselves and our generation, our future generation, our ancestor. So I brought the amethyst. And we need a clarity, we need a stability of mind to see our conditioning pattern. So the crystal represent that, at least for me. And opening heart, opening of our heart, fearless heart. No matter what it is, bear witness and accept unknown, then compassionate action will arise. So that's the altar. And I was given this lovely talking stick as a gift. And I'm very pleased to share today with you my inaugural usage of talking stick. This was given by Fred. It came from Sedona. And so it's even has a certificate of authenticity. I never own anything with this thing on, so I know it's kind of tacky, but I just kind of wanted to hang on to it right now. So that's my clinging there. It describes, most people know the person who holds the stick talks. So clearly right now I'm the one talking, nobody else. And this fluffy rabbit feather represent soft and warmth that we wanted to cultivate. We wanted to think of how when we speak softly and warm. And the eagle feather represents a brave heart, courageous, be courageous. So we're gonna use today to practice bearing witness by so now I explain the object. I'm going to quickly go through the full practice of counsel circle, which is, let's see, I have to just speak from the heart, listen from the heart. So it's a different way of listening. You don't listen from your ear. You listen from the heart. And speak your essence. You don't need 800 words to describe how you're feeling. You could speak in 1 word or 3 words. And be spontaneous. You don't practice what you're gonna say. Oh, she's saying this, so next, when she give me a chance to say something, I'm gonna say this. You don't practice what you're gonna say. Be spontaneous, checking what's alive in you. And respect confidentiality. It's very important. Only in the safety of our understanding of confidentiality, we could be open heart and share what's alive in us. So those are the guiding principle of counsel. And what I'm gonna invite you to do is to tell us your name and what's alive in you at this moment in 1 word. I'm Hiromi. Pulsing.
Paulson. Barbara. Tranquility.
David. Restful.
Fred. Quivering.
Annie. Curiosity.
Matt. Love.
Thank you, everyone. And that was it. It would be funny, wouldn't it? I like to talk what the actual how Bernie Glassman talks about bearing witness, and then I would. So let me share that I'm gonna describe how I was taught to do bearing witness, and then how to do accepting unknown, and then describe what could be the compassionate action. And then I will give you guys a short example, and then open to question afterwards. So don't have to worry about it. Yes, you will get a chance to ask questions later, but bear with me. So it's a different format we're doing. What you just did was give full attention to the person who's introducing their name and what they're feeling. And it was very simple, but see how you feel. It wasn't something you said to them, but you being heard. That people know you're here with that emotions, whatever that might be. So that's the beginning of how to practice bearing witness. Bernie Glassman talks about wholeness. He says, until you're ready to be broken, you won't find wholeness. So in order to do that, you have to touch into how you're feeling inside. And it's not always the most convenient or easy things. And you don't look strong and confident. I think that was one of the things that I really felt once I came to this country. Wow, it's like appearing confident and know what you're doing is very important in this country. I originally came from Japan, so I quickly learned to practice that direction, and I am relearning to drop that. Bernie Glassman does the Bearing Witness retreat in two formats. One is on the street. I attended the street retreat doing this format, so practicing bearing witness, accepting unknown, and practicing whatever action might arise from that experience is what we did. And another format he does is taking people to Auschwitz or the Black Hill. So David here did the Auschwitz retreat 2 years ago, a year ago?
November 16th, 2016.
So it's not the most comfortable retreat. It's the reason why he chose those places are he discovered place of suffering is a place of great healing. And I think it's so true that when we open our heart and bear witness and not resist the horrificness of the street or the Auschwitz, that there is something that wake up in us. But you need to be there. You need to be there for yourself to be present and go through that emotion, whatever that might be for you. And it's not the most comfortable process. And I can tell you that from doing the street retreat. I've been living in sheltered life, so I never done anything like that. And to convince Matt was really difficult. I'm not the most strong person, and he was concerned about my safety. And I think that was probably one of the hardest things, to convince somebody for something that you really believe strongly. And I have to bear witness his position, where he is coming from. And it was difficult, but he also realized, you're not gonna let this go, are you? I was going to continue to ask him until he'll say, okay, you have my blessing. So I wasn't sure, but I was gonna continue to ask him to let me go. And that was the practice of seeing where he's at and where I'm at, and witness that process and continue to describe why it's important for me. So Bernie talks about bearing witness is nothing to be done only at Auschwitz. When we bear witness to unfolding our daily lives and not shrinking any situation, then we learn to open and what's arising in front of you. And in this process, healing arises. And so I did get to experience in that way that how it was healing for me, because whenever I say something, my parents would say no to. So I was so coming from that perspective, oh, he's going to say no anyway. Why should I bother? But this is something I really wanted to do. So I have to really feel that being little and getting no to at the same time. So it was very healing for me to go through that process when I was preparing for the street retreat. And I should have put the page number. Now I think I messed it up the order on this. So anyway, but it's in my head. Okay, so bearing witness doesn't necessarily mean you just, bearing witness means you witness. When you witness, you do not do anything. You just describe what's happening and accept. And so you're not trying to change your situation or expecting something. There's no judgment there. And that's the difference between expecting and witnessing, bearing witness. And it's I am witnessing what you are doing right now, or not doing, just watching your eyes on me and feeling that sensation in my body. And I have to do this first in order to practice. And the next is the accepting unknown. So what it means to accept unknown is to drop that expectation. There's when we don't expect, or when we don't go to I know, there's so much possibilities. I had no idea how you guys are gonna show up today. I thought, well, 10 people would be great. You know, it's like that would be great, or even 5, I would be happy to form a circle. And the truth is, like, I had no control over who's gonna come today. And we have no control over anything we do. We tend to believe we have a control, but we don't. And we have no choice but to accept as it is. And I imagine myself a little bit, okay, let's do smooth, okay? Let's keep it going like Joel does. You know, what am I to compare Joel, compare with Joel with me? And so I had to drop that expectation for myself and accepting unknown of whether people's going to show up or not. And so the accepting unknown is no expectation of gain, no expectation of loss. There's just what's here right now. And letting go, it's never-ending practice. It's all about letting go. It's just, I thought I know that I would be what it's like to stand up in front of people and talk, but I forgot. And that's okay. And the page number not being on it, I'm a little nervous and flip through and like, oh gosh, it's just got wrong order now. But this is what it is. Nothing I can do about it. I'm just here I am being totally showing my underbelly to you, and this is being recorded. Yay, transparency. So I'm going to give you this lovely poem that I was introduced to recently. It's the poem from the Radiance Sutra from the teaching of Vijnana Vairava Tantra. It's from a Kashmir Shaivism, so it's another mystic. And then it's a verse 78, and I'm going to share this with you right now. Desire, lust, longing, anger humming in your blood, confusion, jealousy, bewilderment, swirling in your head. Catch the first hint as passion rises, the first quickening heartbeat. Embrace that vibrancy with a mind vast as a sky. Witness the elemental motion of emotion, fire burning, illuminating, water gushing, cleansing, air inspiring, soothing, space expanding, embracing. You are in the temple of desire. Go deeper still and rest in essence. Awake to infinite spiritual energy surging into form. So practicing accepting unknown and bearing witness, you will naturally come to loving, compassionate action. Without practicing bearing witness or accepting unknown, you won't be able to come to compassionate action. What it is coming from the heart, not from your mind. So if you are thinking, I should be, then that's not loving action. It's come from your heart. So it's spontaneous. It coming from what you just experienced. Naturally, you would come to the action. And so there's a difference between doing something or doing because your heart feels. And so loving action only will arise from practicing bearing witness and accepting unknown, because every situation is different. What I did work with my son will not work with my daughter. And that's just, sometimes you might be able to do that, but everybody is different. Every situation is different. And so every time what you do, skillful means are different. And so it's response from openness and love and wisdom. And I heard the story of Zen monk in a poor country that he was surrounded by little children. And first he thought, oh gosh, there's nothing I can do, just these children, just hungry. But I'm here right now. And so what he did was bought those children ice cream, and they enjoy each bite of that popsicle. And that was what he chose as a loving action. He witnessed his pain of not being able to change this poorness of the country or the area, and he also witnessed the suffering of the children. But they are being children. They just wanted to hang out with them and play with them. And so he hung out with them, and he thought, oh, I'll get you guys ice cream. So that was his loving action. So, when you do the same kind of thing, it might be different because you are you, not that monk. So that's the difference. I wanted to also bring up the CSS precepts. We have this wonderful 10 selfless precepts, and taking responsibility for my life, the first responsibility, not to blame others for my own unhappiness, nor make excuse for my own mistakes. I think this is where you stand, where everything starts, that take responsibility for your action and your happiness is, I used to think he needs to make me happy. That was his job. He's a CSS teacher. He has to. I should get lucky because I'm his wife. I had that very strong in me. I'm partially joking, but half serious. And so I have to take responsibility for my life and my happiness. And you do get the benefit of being teacher's wife, but still I have to practice just like everybody else. I didn't get the magic stick and get lucky. So I discovered this is part of the bearing witness. I'm a rule breaker. You see, exactly that's what I did. I set the fire in the middle. Hopefully I'm not driving Mike crazy by putting the fire in the middle. And I break the format, I made you guys do circle. I'm a rule breaker. But I have to know the rule first. I have to know. So this is not my rule. Actually, this is something I come back to be whole again and not judge myself. So when I was explained to, this is something not to take it as an absolute. This is something to come back to over and over. Just that loving mother will never leave you, like this earth. It will never leave you. And I realized, okay, I guess I can read this. I struggled to read this. I did not want to just I left Japan, so I wouldn't have to do this kind of rule reading. And here I am in this group, the poncho guy reads the group, and I came so far from Buddhist robe, and here I am, still have to read this. I struggle for the form, but this really is something to help you come back to. And that moment is every moment. It's so much easier for me to just continue blaming on Matt for everything because, well, he's a teacher. He takes it for the team. But it's, I need to really watch myself and not just drop everything on other people. And it's been very juicy practice, very important, right here, right moment. As soon as he says, well, you're being Yano Shogun, and I'm not going to listen to that. And then I just cussed at him yesterday. We were working on garage cleanup, and he didn't want to be told what to do. And so things like that, I have to see. I couldn't see it. It took me a long time because I just wanted to be done with the garage cleaning. My parents are coming on July 25th. And so I am on schedule. I don't need him to do something else while I have my agenda. So, see, but I still didn't listen. So this is where transparency come from. And part of the practice that I learned from Roshijun is transparency, is to show my belly. Show my vulnerable belly. Vulnerable, I cussed at him, you know. I was so close for my hand to move too because I was so irritated that I need to get garage clean. And why can't you understand that? So what I learned from Roshijun is threefold transparency. So it's important for us to be fearless so we could be practicing bearing witness and accepting known. What the transparency she's talking about here is to become transparent to yourself through personal inquiry. We must stabilize the mind and make friends with it. She didn't say become perfect. She said be friend with it. And so be intimate. That means you kind of learn about who you are, what made you you. And I think one of the things I used to tell my daughter, Mina, was, Mina, I wish I could speak perfect English. I wish I wouldn't be speaking Japanese English. And then she goes, Mama, that makes you you. And I thought, oh, yeah. Okay, so I guess what I thought was, somewhat negative, that not perfect, English, like a noni mouse, was that made me me. And that really shifts the way I think about myself. And it became a little easier. So the second of the transparency, how the threefold transparency is, we open the mind to life. Make the world transparent to you. See into the nature of reality, into the hearts of others, into the hearts of the world. And the third is become transparent to others. Learn to be open, vulnerable, undefended in your relationship. Then there's nothing to really hide because you are being you. And those parts are the seed of love. Those negative things you thought you have is the seed of love in us that shines a light. And so that threefold transparency was emphasized all times. And it was such an intense training that pretty much sometimes somebody's crying because they're just kind of going through this, working with their shadows. And yes, it was painful, but it was worth it. And I have a different view. Like, I thought those are negative part of human beings. That was my belief. But it's kind of like seeing the nighttime and daytime. We don't call nighttime negative because it's darkness. We don't call daytime is a positive because it's daytime. I mean, we take it nighttime as a nighttime. We take it daytime as a daytime. Naturally, we learn to do that as a kid. And I realized that's the same thing. So gradually practicing transparency made easier for me to not be so defensive and bear witness what I consider those shadows that nighttime comes and the emotions start to arise. Then I was able to see as just nighttime or daytime, and that just makes the whole thing just yin and yang. It's like that polarity of our lives that we tend to take it as positive or negative or judge as good thing, bad thing. It's all same thing. It's interesting how it's stage specific, and you learn to be with it and be present without judging is so hard. But we all are the love. It's like this body is the manifestation of love. It's unbelievable that we're actually connecting because we have body, because we see you, that we get to say something, because we have a mouth, because we have eyes, we can see you as who you are. Because I hear your voice, I hear as you speaking to me. It's that all those parts are for us to feel that love that we thought it's not present. But when you actually realize that all of us are the divine manifestation of love, which is just so simple. You don't need to like the way I dress, or I made you form the circle, I made you say what you are feeling, but you just accept me as who I am just because I'm here, and look at me by acknowledging I'm talking and keeping silence for me while I talk. And that's like form of love, that connection that we tend to disregard. I think so. Let's see what else I have to include in my talk is I am going to pass this stick around, and I'm going to also invite, you may not have anything to say, and your presence, offering of your presence is sometimes so precious, so profound, just being here. And so you don't need to say anything if you don't have anything to say, or you like to just offer your presence. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pass this and ask you to share 3 words that is alive in you right now. And this is how you're gonna practice bearing witness and accepting unknown, because we don't know who's gonna say what. But what we're gonna offer is our presence to each other. And feel that in your body, what is it like to just give a full attention, speak from the heart, listening from the heart, and be spontaneous, speak your essence, and respect the confidentiality, and share your heart in this community. What's alive in me right now? Joy, love, warmth,
Vastness, soft, open.
Open hearts unite.
Yay, you guys survived. So, I am going to share a song with you. I was gonna originally play other song first, but it's so depressing. I'm not going to play. I wrote this song when I was still actively going through the pain from my broken ankle, and it really helped me to get over. That was one way of me bearing witness to my pain, physical pain, and my pain of, wow, all I can do is to eat and go use the bathroom. That's pretty much it. I could not even move the toast and coffee at the same time either because I was using crutches. So it helped me to get over by practicing ukulele and putting my feeling on the song. So that's what I did. But I like to end my talk or our time together with the song I wrote later on the solstice last year. It's called I Will Walk With You. Tell me your story. I've been waiting for you. Why took you so long? I am here for you. I will walk you home. Why don't you come on over and tell me your story? I don't want you to carry the weight of pain anymore. Life is not about keeping a high score. Don't leave any hurts because they're the seed of love. You don't need to keep using the back door. You and I will walk together until you see your light. am here for you. I will walk you home. I will walk you home. So thank you very much, and now open to the question, if you have any or comments, and you can use the talking stick or you can just, yes, Barbara.
I want to thank you so much. Of course, when I came in, and then I was confused. And then when you said to go into our body and go with our discomfort or comfort or whatever, what I became aware of as soon as I did that was I had forgotten how much I love being in circle. And I had forgotten how connected that feels. And what I really appreciated that everybody was, that you were in the circle. And it just felt not electric, but energetic. It just felt, so thank you so much.
Thank you for being in a circle. Thank you. Thank you for forming a circle and entertaining my wishes. I really appreciate that. Any other comment? Yes, Annie?
I just wanted to reinforce that. It was just incredible to come and sit down and see everybody's face instead of the back of their head. I really liked it.
And feeling I don't always like to acknowledge the sadness.
Uh-huh.
But because it's too painful to acknowledge this. But to be in touch with people's pain is even more beautiful than being in touch with people's happiness. And that's what the circle does. I thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Mary-san?
I feel the divine feminine in your presence and in today's circle, and I think I have really needed that, the feminine energy. I'd like to see you do more of it. I'd like you to do more of this. Would you do more?
Yes. Yes. That would be lovely. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Catherine?
Well, I'd like to share something that happened to me the other day, and maybe others can relate to this. I was reading in basically a Buddhist book, but it was referring to a biblical phrase, and I grew up Christian, really pretty happily, fortunate. But anyway, it said, "Be ye whole as your Father in heaven is whole." And I thought, I remember that as be you perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. OMG. I think something got laid in there that thinking of wholeness is a lot, is better than trying to be perfect.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, Mark?
I was aware of my own feelings, and maybe as the circle went around, and sometimes people would say things that would be a little bit of a chuckle. And at times I thought, that didn't strike me as funny particularly. And so I became aware of myself and in the circle that this thing we just did, of just saying simply how we're feeling in front of others, is itself a practice. You know, I mean, maybe we need to practice it while we're alone too, but I'm just glad that you brought that, because I think it's something, just a really good reminder. And it's a little bit actually like, slightly like, what I said about Sangha when I did my talk, that it's one of the things also that we're here for each other for is to receive as well as contribute. So thanks for bringing that in.
Thank you, Mark.
So can I just riff on that a little bit? What he
You
said?
gotta be good.
When we see each other here, and maybe it's because we're in a line, but maybe it's not, I don't know. Everybody just looks, we look on the outside pretty much like we expect each other to look like on the outside. And for me, at least, I have no idea what's going on inside of people, none. And just going around in a circle saying a few words. I could see that there's just, like undulating lots of very deep feelings of way up high and way down low, and just to appreciate that and realize that I feel both those things from time to time, and probably nobody knows it, and I don't necessarily have a way of sharing it here. Walk in the door and say, well, anybody want to know how I'm feeling today? So it's just nice to have volunteer. Yeah, I liked that. I liked it a lot. It was comforting to know how human we all are.
David?
I was a little worried coming today because I had such a difficult time in council at the Auschwitz retreat. So this time here was very healing for me. So I greatly appreciate this opportunity. So thank you for offering this. I'm still working with, still dealing with, still processing what happened with me, but I hope maybe to share it someday. But this has been very helpful, so thank you for bringing this to us.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad. Anybody else?
I'm gonna add one thing to what I said. This week, I was in touch with a friend who just discovered this week that he has a major problem with his heart. And he's flying like this soon, any day now, to the East Coast where someone's found like the best heart surgeon. He's having open heart surgery, and he's putting his affairs in order. Like, this is not always successful surgery. It's like, what? Like, he might not come back. And I was, as I'm listening to everybody's just sharing their basic here I feel right now, I was thinking, we could not be here tomorrow, like at all, much less be feeling how we're feeling. So I just, thinking of that sort of upped all this in a way, because it's how we are, who and how we are right now is really important if this is the last we have, you know? So.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed your talk. I really like the little altar and all the little symbols on there. And the song, a beautiful song. And I love it. Like you do it again sometimes. I can catch all the words. I thought your talk was really brilliant. The way you incorporated all your experiences and your deep understanding of what's going on. So it was great.
Thank you. Thank you. So I will end. This is real end. Okay, I keep saying, but this time I will. So this is also from the Radiant Sutra, from the teaching of Vijnana Vairava Tantra from Kashmir Shaivism. And the book is over there, so you guys can take a look at it. It's called Radiant Sutra. It's the red book. So
Are there books over there too?
Yes, I brought the other books over there that I use in my talk, so you can kind of glance at it. All the Bernie Glassman's and Roshi Jones' book, not all of her book, but that I use are there, so you can kind of take a look at it after the talk. So the verse 72 from the Radiant Sutra. The universe is here to reveal ultimate splendor. Unlimited splendor, infinite diversity of expression. No one can withstand her allure. Adore the colors and shapes of her enchantment and know. The one who permeates it all is the great lover. Deeply relative above and below, mortal and immortal, transient and eternal, perceive and terrifying beauty, be free to suffer and to be thrilled, to tolerate intolerable ravishment.